You are listening to 600 Saga. Today's feature is Cold Escape by Mariah Avix. Read by Mariah Avix.
Again. I lifted my left foot and leaned forward. I was more falling than walking. Again. I lifted my right foot. I could barely feel anything except the cold. It burned the little skin that was exposed. My body shook in a desperate attempt to warm up. My right foot crunched into the snow as I put it down. Again. Lift foot. The boots I'd stolen weren't warm enough. The 3 layers of pants weren't enough. Foot crunched into snow. I felt the grasses laden with frost push up under my pants and scrape against my skin. Again. Lift foot. Don't fall. My arms flailed out automatically to steady my body. I didn't feel like I had control of it anymore. My 2 short sleeves exposed my skin to the icy cold. The shock of the cold made me gasp. The frozen air filled my lungs. I couldn't stop. I had to move forward. Again. I shook as I lifted my foot. I thought about pulling my arms back to my body. They obeyed, slowly. I tried to tug the sleeves on the 3 layers of sweaters I had managed to steal. I couldn't do it without taking my hands out of the sweater sleeves I'd cut and sewn into a semblance of mittens. I brought my foot down. I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't turn around. Again. I lifted my foot. I didn't know how long I'd been here, but I couldn't stay another day. Staying meant death. I'd rather die out here than back there. I had to keep moving forward. I looked down through my frost-laden lashes at my hands. I pulled one mitten sleeve off. I worked as quick as I could to pull the sleeves of the sweater down and wrangle the mitten back on. My foot came down. Again. I repeated with the other hand as I lifted my foot. I had to keep moving. I knew they wouldn't notice I was gone until morning, but I didn't know how long that would be, or how far I could get by then. I pulled my arms in close to my body. I wanted to cry and shake and curl up into a ball. I put my foot down, another step forward. Again. If I could get past the gray beyond, past the clouds, I would be out. I could be free. I could be safe. My foot slid in the boot as I lifted it. The boots were too big, even with the extra socks. I put my head down again and just thought about the steps. Again. A few steps later, or a few thousand, I looked up and saw the tree, standing tall, proud, alone. Each branch, no matter how tiny, was thick with frost. The sky was crystal blue. At some point the sun had come up behind me. It was another one of those days that I would have called lovely a few months ago. Sunny and blue with only a few wisps of cloud, but it held death. Probably mine. Again. If only I could get to the tree. I wasn't sure what then. Stop and scrape the snow from the inside of my boots. The rolling gray beyond seemed forever away. But the tree. I could make it to the tree. My foot came down. The crackling and crunching sound I knew were there, but I could only hear the thoughts in my head. My ears too cold, my brain too cold. Everything was too cold. Again. A sound as I lifted my leg. The cold of the pants pressing against my skin, trading for the cold of the air trapped between my skin and the cloth. A whisper. Not dogs or machines or people yelling behind me. A warm whisper. Warm. A whisper like hot cider, like a bowl of hot soup. Warm to the core. Again. The whisper filled me. I lifted my head to look for the source. Only the endless expanse of frost and snow-covered grasses poking up, and the one lone tree. I gave a heavy, warm sigh, and the moisture from my breath clung to my lashes, lacing them together. The tree. Again. It wanted me closer. I kept moving. It was a hum that filled me. It promised I would be free. I was close. I would be safe. I would be free. I would not be dragged back. Again. I was almost there. I paused, reaching up to brush the frost from my eyes. The tree reached out for me. I stepped toward the nearest branch. Low. Low enough for me to touch. I reached up at the curled finger covered in frost. I didn't remember taking my mitten off, but I wasn't cold anymore. I stroked the frost with my finger, and it melted away. The water ran down my hand. It should have burned my skin with cold. Again. I tried to lift my legs, but they were frozen in place. They weren't cold, but they were frozen, heavy, unmoving. I tried to twist, but my waist wouldn't move. My arm still stretched out to the tree. My fingers turned the color of bark, cracking. I wasn't cold. I tried to wiggle my toes and felt them stretch down into the earth. The roots of the other tree wrapped around my toes. I didn't need to move again. They would never drag me back. They would never capture me. I was safe. I was still. I was free. I felt the branches grow from me. I hadn't made it to the gray, but I wouldn't be taken back. Now, we too beckon to the others. We whisper of the safety, the freedom, the life that can be lived. Someday we will be many. We will be space enough for some to hide in before continuing on. Someday one will make it beyond the gray.
This was Cold Escape by Mariah Avix. More work can be found at insomniacs.com. Check our show notes for links. Music is by Mads. Learn more about 600 Second Saga, our authors, how to submit your flash fiction, and how to support the podcast in the show notes. This has been Mariah Avix and 600 Second Saga.